Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we are shining some light, no pun intended, on some unique lighting equipment products. It's been a while, but my name is still Barry Chong. Welcome back to Cine In the 6, now at 2D House. To my left here represents some of the latest and greatest in modern day lighting technology. Essentially what we have is an 8x8 light source that is both soft, bright, color tunable, with a relatively narrow footprint that you can plug into a household circuit. So whether you're shooting on location or in studio, this provides a unique and adaptable tool that gives you capabilities that you've never been able to achieve before. The setup consists of two Matthews 8x8 frames joined by a set of Matthews double ears, which allow you to mount two frames close together off of one set of stands. In this case, some Mambos, but anything with a 4.5-inch jumbo grip head should work. Tied into the rear 8x8 frame are two Litegear Litetile 8s along with two Litetile 4s. These are just secured with some extra fabric ties onto the frame, but you could easily use sash, zip ties, bongo ties, rope, or anything of that nature. The system draws a total of 1200 watts with a total of three 400-watt power supplies. In the case of the Litetile 4s, I was able to easily Velcro them together as well as daisy chain their power. All right, so next up I wanted to go through a little bit of the photometrics of this setup. This is not meant to be a super technical test. It's a little bit on the informal side. I did want to provide you some numbers just so you had a sense of how much punch that this kind of setup can give you. Just to give you some parameters, I am currently sitting 6 feet away from the source, centered forward and backwards to it. It is set to 2600 Kelvin, all the units of the light tiles, which is the warmest that the light tiles will go to. Everything is at 100%. Skinned on the front 8x8 frame is a silent full grid cloth, as well as in front of that there is a Lighttools fabric egg crate, which is of the 50-degree variety. So I'm going to go ahead and take some readings based on 800 ISO, 24 frames a second, 180-degree shutter, as well as give you a foot candle readout. I also have a Sekonic C700 meter here as well, and we'll do a color reading as well. So we are at about 5/6 and 2/3. Again at 800, 24, 180, which in foot candles is about 73 foot candles. And then color-wise, we are at almost exactly 2600 Kelvin. And everything is just slightly magenta. Probably, I would say, about 1/8 plus green would correct for that. So next up, we'll go and change the units to 32, and we'll come back and take another reading. All right, we're back at 3200 Kelvin. I'm gonna take another reading here. So we're at the same 5/6 and 2/3 roughly, which should equate to the same foot candles. So yeah, we're just at just over 70 foot candles, about 73 foot candles on the key side. And then color-wise, we are this is a Sekonic C700 meter. So color-wise, we're reading about 3150, so quite close, and it's coming in a little bit magenta. Probably about 1/8 plus green would take it back to where it needs to be, but yeah, just ever so slightly magenta, but color-wise, quite good. All right, next we will look at 55. All right, so we're at 5500 Kelvin now, still 100% on everything. We're gonna take another light reading now. So at 55, I gain about 2/10 of a stop. I'm just shy now of f8. And color-wise, or actually foot candle-wise, that reads about 84, 85 foot candles. In terms of color, we're coming in at about 5250. So just a little warmer than what the units say they are. And we are slightly less magenta, still ever so slightly, but almost negligible amount. All right, next we will look at 6500 Kelvin, which is the coolest color temperature that these units will go. All right, we're back, and we're now set to 6500 Kelvin across all of the units, and we get a light reading of, so same thing, we're getting just shy of f8, but 5, 6, and 9/10, which should come in at the same 84 foot candles, 85 foot candles. Yep, so that's correct. And color-wise, we are coming in at about 5950, and even less magenta. So it's going slightly green as we shift to these cooler temperatures. All right, next up we will remove the egg crate and go through the same cycle just so you can kind of see what's going on in the back wall behind me, as well as the intensity increase that happens when we take this off. All right, guys, so we're back, and I've now gone ahead and taken off the Lighttools fabric egg crate. So we are just dealing with the silent full grid cloth on the front. Everything has gone back to 2600 Kelvin. Everything is still at 100%. And if you can tell by the other angle there, my chair has not moved. One thing I did sort of forget to mention initially is that this light source is exactly 90 degrees to me. So it is sidey at the moment, just to sort of demonstrate kind of what the egg crate was doing. I would say, which I can do a little bit after. Normally I would, you probably want to bring the source around a little bit so you have a little bit more on the fill side. I was kind of curious myself to see whether removing the egg crate would lift my fill side. But it doesn't seem to have actually done anything. So what I'll do after maybe is I'll walk that around just to show you guys something that's a little bit more beauty. Anyways, we will continue our readings here. So at the same settings, again, 800 ISO, 24 frames a second. At 180, we get 8 4/10. About 8.5. So we've gained about 2/3 of a stop roughly without the egg crate on. And color-wise, I suspect we should be the same. Yep, so we're coming in at just over 2600 Kelvin right now. So again, we'll go ahead and cycle through all the other white balances without the egg crate, and we'll show you that as well. All right, we're back at 3200 Kelvin now. We'll go ahead and take another reading. So we get the same, about 8 4/10, which is about a 2/3 increase of where we were before. Oh, and again, that is 120 foot candles. I think I forgot to mention that on the 2600 Kelvin setting. So yes, that's 120 foot candles for an equivalent of about 8.5. And color-wise, we are at about 3150. So the same thing with or without the egg crate, which only makes sense that that shouldn't cast any color difference. Okay, we will next head to 5500 Kelvin. So we're now tuned to 5500 Kelvin. We will go ahead and take another reading. So we get about 8 2/3. So again, just a nominal increase. And color-wise, we are at 5250. All right, next up we will look at 6500 Kelvin. And lastly, we're at 6500 Kelvin, and we get a reading of, same thing, 8 2/3, which is about 140 foot candles. Yeah, about 140 foot candles. And color-wise, we were coming in at about 5950. All right, next up, we will pull the silent full grid off and switch to light grid, kind of just show you a little bit of a difference in terms of light quality and output, and we'll come back and take a look at that. All right, I've gone ahead and changed the full grid cloth to a light grid cloth, and we're back to 2600 Kelvin, and we'll go through the same pattern again. So first up, the reading. So about 8.5 we get, so just a little bit more stop than the full grid cloth, which correlates to about 130 foot candles. Color-wise, we are, so color-wise, yeah, we're about 2600 Kelvin again, just over 2618, 2616, so very close to what the lights actually say they are. And next up, we will go to 3200. Okay, we're back at 3200 Kelvin, and we are getting about 8 4/10, so virtually the same as the full grid cloth, which equates to 120 foot candles. And color-wise, we are coming in at just shy of 3200. Says about 3165, 3160, so very, very close. Next up, 5500 Kelvin. All right, we're back at 5500 Kelvin, and we are now getting a reading of 8 2/3. And, which is 150 foot candles, and color-wise, we are getting about 5275. So like all the other readings we've done on the daylight spectrum, it seems to be coming in just a little bit warmer than what the lamp says it is. All right, next up, we will go to 6500. And lastly, we're back here at 6500 Kelvin. We're going to go ahead and take our readings. So we are at about 8 2/3, 8 8/10, which is about 150 foot candles. And color-wise, we are coming in at about 5990, 5985. So again, just slightly warmer than what the lamp says, and with almost a negligible amount of magenta. Next up, I will go ahead and remove the diffusion and show you guys what the light tiles look like just coming in bare. All right, so I've now gone ahead and removed the diffusion, so what you're looking at is just the light tiles. At this point, you obviously wouldn't need the Matthews double ears. You wouldn't need the extra frame rigged into that. But if you just need maximum output, this would be the way to go. And actually, the way that Lighttgear designs their lights, you essentially have 2 color temperatures at each diode location. So you're actually not, A, losing much output as you shift between tungsten and daylight, and the general density of the LEDs is tighter than some other bicolor units. So you actually don't, you still sort of maintain some level of softness even without any diffusion, which is what Lighttgear claims. They sort of say softness through pixelization. So as you can tell, even with the diffusion off, the quality of light hasn't drastically changed, and I'm looking to the wall to my right. There's not, there certainly is a bit of that double shadow that you normally get with, or fringing that you get with LEDs, multiple point source LEDs, but it's not to, the same effect that you would get with some other units. And even staring at it is not, well, you don't want to stare at it too long. It's not uncomfortably bright. So let's go ahead and take some readings and see how much we've actually gained. So here at 2600 Kelvin, no diffusion, we're getting about F11. So we've gained about a half stop versus having the grid cloth in front of it. So not a significant gain, but if you need maximum output, this would be the way to go. And again, you could kind of almost get away with it as long as it's not shining directly in your talent's eyes. It's quite bearable. And color-wise, we are looking at about 2660. So the grid cloth was warming it up ever so slightly from previous. Next up, we will look at 3200. All right, we're at 3200 Kelvin, and we get a reading of, same thing, about F11, which again, I forgot to tell you guys on the last reading for 2600 Kelvin should be about 170 foot candles. For F11, 180 foot candles. And color-wise, if trend continues, this shouldn't be too far off from what the lamp says. So yeah, this is 3225. So the grid cloth again was warming it up ever so slightly. Next up, we'll look at daylight, 5500. All right, we're now at 5500 Kelvin. We'll go through the same thing. So we come in at about 11 2/10, roughly, which is about 200 foot candles. So color-wise, we are almost at a perfect 5500 Kelvin. It's saying about 5508, 5510. So again, the grid cloth was previously warming it up. Next up, we will look at 6500. And lastly, we are here at 6500 Kelvin. We'll do our final reading, which we get, same thing, 11 2/10, which is about 200 foot candles. And color-wise, we should be coming pretty close to what the lamp says. Yeah, about 6285. So a couple hundred Kelvin, 6300, but 200 Kelvin off of what it says. So lastly, what I'm going to do is put the grid cloth back on. We'll put like full grid cloth back on, put the egg crate back on, and I'm going to wheel this thing into a little bit of a more of a 3/4 beauty setup. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys is just how easy it is to move this setup around. I was easily able to do this by myself. It certainly helps if you have your stands on wheels. In the case of being in studio, having a floor that allows you to sort of maneuver this pretty easily. I could even sort of go ahead and take some extra care to wrangle all the cabling that I have back there, which would make it even quicker to reposition, which is a pretty unique feature of this particular setup. On top of its narrow profile, to be able to move all this basically as one unit instead of moving several stands and several items at a time. This can be easily wheeled around to desired position. So in this case, I've just wheeled it around a little bit more 3/4 so it fills in my dark side a little nicer. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed watching this video with this unique lighting setup with some Litegear Litetile and Matthews grip gear. If you have any further questions about the setup, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you're looking to use this setup on your next production, everything is available now at 2D House. You can find 2D on Instagram and YouTube. Come check us out. My name is Barry Chong. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.